It was supposed to be a fun night out with the crew, but then Chloe, this sorority pledge, drew the truth or dare card. She had to kiss someone for 3 whole minutes. And, wouldn't you know it, her eyes locked right on my boyfriend, Jake. I watched as Jake, flipping a lighter, didn't even register the tension building around us. Chloe, all nervous, asked me, "Hey, Sarah, is it cool if I borrow Jake for a sec?" I didn't get it. There are tons of single guys here. Why not pick them? She went red and stammered before awkwardly asking some other dudes. Rejection after rejection until some guy, a little too drunk, said, "Sure, let's make it a French kiss." Chloe practically cringed, shaking her head like crazy. Just when things were about to get seriously uncomfortable, Jake finally snapped out of his trance. He pulled Chloe away from the drunk guy and said, "Dude, pick on someone your own size, huh?" Chloe, clinging to his arm like he was a lifeline, looked to Jake for rescue. I also tugged at his sleeve. "Hey, my head's killing me. Can you take me home? Come on, Jake, get up and let's just leave." I was silently pleading with him. I needed him to show me that he only had eyes for me, that Chloe meant nothing to him. He looked at me, his eyes meeting mine. Then he looked away. "You know I can't bail," he said, avoiding my gaze. I swear, my eyes went all blurry with unshed tears. He saw it and crouched down next to me. His voice was all soft and soothing. "Chloe is like a little sister, Sarah. I have to have her back. Just chill, okay? It'll just be for a few minutes." I gripped his sleeve so hard I crushed the fabric. "Jake, if you kiss her, we're over, got it?" My voice was raspy but steady, no tears were going to fall. "I'm serious." Jake's patience finally ran out, and he pried my fingers loose. He stood up, towering over me. "Don't be so uptight, Sarah," he said, sounding annoyed. It was the same look he gave me when I said our neighbor's kid was cute. That cold, dismissive superiority. The bet. One of Jake's buddies, noticing the awkwardness, tried to smooth things over. "Chill, Sarah. It's just a game." His girlfriend piped up, "Yeah, don't be such a buzzkill. Why go to a party if you're going to be like this?" Before I could say a word, Jake's other friend, Finn, who'd been quiet the whole time, let out a chuckle. Everyone's attention snapped to him. He looked at the girl who'd spoken, leaning back and propping his head on his hand. "You're saying she's a buzzkill?" he drawled. "Okay, you go kiss every guy here, then. Except me, I'm not playing." He paused, then added, "Buzzkill." It was that low-key, sarcastic comeback that shut her down. I blinked, looking at him, surprised. Finn was always quiet and kept to himself. I never expected him to come to my defense. By the time Chloe and Jake's 3 minutes were up, I'd had a mental reset. I'd moved past the hurt and anger. The breakup. Jake sat down next to me like nothing had happened. I just deleted his contact and blocked him. He was stunned. "What the hell is this?" he asked, a hint of annoyance creeping into his voice. Like I said, we're done. I was about to block his number, but he grabbed my hand. "Are you still throwing a hissy fit?" he scoffed, a thin layer of irritation now. "It's just a game. You're being so dramatic. If it was you kissing someone for a game, I wouldn't care." He thought he had me pegged, always playing by the rules. The party then got even louder. It was Finn who had the next dare, and it was a wild one. "Take any girl home for the night." One of the guys added a sly grin, and we all know what that means. Finn didn't move. Someone tried to let him off the hook. "Simon, man, you're not that type. You haven't even looked at a girl in years. Let's just skip it." No one took it seriously. Then Finn just slowly lifted his gaze and looked directly at me. Everyone went silent. He casually walked to me, stuck out his hand and, with a smirk, asked, "Wanna try it out?" Jake glared at Finn. "He's drunk, I'll have him sent home." He laughed a bit. "Finn, she's my girl." The air crackled. Finn just looked back at him, expressionless. So, he asked. It's just a game, Jake repeated. Don't be such a sore loser. She's a prude, she'd never do it, Jake added. I'm saying no for her. But then I placed my hand in Finn's. I'm in, I said. Jake's face froze. I was so done with being the good girl, the quiet one. I wanted to shock them. Finn took my hand, and he started pulling me towards the exit. The place exploded with chatter. Whoa! Is that Finn? I must be hallucinating. I heard Jake shout after us. Wait. He still sat on the couch, like a kid having a tantrum. I just wanted to say. Jake said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, tell me where you're staying, I can send you some condoms. I looked at Jake, a smile plastered on my face. Don't worry about it. I said, are you seriously simping over your ex-girlfriend? I have no time for a simp like you. I grabbed Finn's hand and we left. The truth. Once we were in Finn's car, I finally let out a breath. I felt like I had just escaped some alternate reality. I looked at him. Thanks for rescuing me back there, I said. Just drop me off at the subway, okay? I fully expected him to be on the same page as me. Just another dare. He was, after all, friends with Jake. Do you know what happens if you lie to them? He asked, voice casual. I shook my head, then started thinking about how stupid that game had been. I went on my phone to see the group chat. Group chat, tonight we're playing Truth or Dare, and if you lie, you'll be poor forever. My eyes widened. No way. I believed that stuff. Finn pulled up to the subway stop and turned towards me with a smirk. You're free to go, you know, being poor forever is nothing. I gripped the door handle, shaking my head. This was too serious. Finn looked at me quizzically. You can't open the door? He reached over, hand on the handle. I instinctively pinned his hand to stop him, my other hand pressing against the side of his seat. He was just above me now, arms on either side. He looked down. What now? My brain went haywire. I want to sleep with you, I blurted out. Finn didn't move. His expressionless gaze was on me. But I don't want to, he said, then quickly retreated. Oh, I started to panic. I was mortified. I stumbled over my words. I'm so sorry. I think I had too much to drink. I didn't mean to overstep. My voice was barely above a whisper. I should go. Finn just locked the doors and started driving again. I looked over. His profile was even colder. I had insulted him, right? He wasn't going to let me run. I mumbled another apology, head in my hands. I didn't mean to say that, I'm so sorry. You're not my type, and you're safe with me, you don't need to worry about anything. Still, nothing. I looked at the speedometer. We were speeding up. Why is he even more mad at me now? The bar. After what felt like an eternity, Finn pulled up to a bar. He said, remember, we have to be together tonight. Oh, okay. Not the bad stuff. Okay. I bolted out of the car and followed him into the bar. Finn knew the owner and just left me on a booth. I got a random call. I picked up and heard Chloe and Jake chattering away. Jake, you should call Sarah. Do you think she's cheating? Jake laughed. She's too uptight to even think of it. She's probably in bed right now. Chloe giggled. Still, you don't sound worried about her. Jake said something that made my blood run cold. Yeah, I don't love her as much as she loves me. I hung up, fuming. That's why I couldn't believe Jake was stupid enough to think I'd be at home. My drink arrived. I grabbed it and took a huge gulp, trying to extinguish the fire in my chest. The bartender stared at me. Ma'am, that's the owner's special drink. Whatever, I'll pay for it, I said. The bartender looked terrified, running to the owner's private suite. The intoxication. It didn't take long for me to understand what the big deal was. It was loaded, whatever was in it. I saw Finn, but he was blurry and everything was fuzzy. He crouched to me, putting his cold hand on my face. "Oh, you feel so good," I said, snuggling into his touch. But then my 2.5% awareness kicked in and I tried to move away, remembering his rejection. I hopped off the stool. "I need a man," I announced. "Just not you," I added, just to make it clear. Finn grabbed my arm and furrowed his brow. "Where do you think you're going?" "I need a man," I said again. "Don't worry, it's not going to be you." Finn's face went dark. He let go of my arm and looked at me, voice low. "Is that right, Sarah? You better be on your word." The hotel. Somehow, I ended up in a hotel room with Finn. My brain was now at 0.5% processing power. I felt restless, like I was trapped in a rainforest. Finn took off his shirt and leaned against the couch, looking at me. "Come here," he said, his voice a little rough. I looked at his abs, then moved toward him, like a magnet. He held up a small bottle. "I need help with some medicine," he murmured. "Where does it hurt?" I asked, ready to take on the challenge. He took my hand and put it on his ab. "Does it hurt here?" I blushed. He did it again on another ab. "What about here, is this bad?" He smiled. He took my hand once more and put my fingertips on his lips. "Does it hurt here?" I stared. Finn's voice was husky and he had my complete attention. "Kiss me, then you'll see if it's paining or not." I just couldn't help it, I just pushed my lips against his. He grabbed the back of my head and kissed me hard, demanding. He pulled back. "And why did you stop kissing me?" I was shy. "Can I kiss you again?" He nodded, and this time, it was a full-on makeout session. The phone call. Just as things were getting really serious, my phone rang. Finn was still kissing me. He glanced at the caller and pushed me away. It was Jake. "Sarah, where are you?" He was frantic. "I talked to your roommate, you never went back to your place. Who are you with?" Finn chuckled and picked up the phone, putting it on speaker. "Is this your call to see if you can send us some condoms?" he asked, giving me a peck on my lips. I snuggled against Finn, feeling the need to kiss him again. He obliged, letting me suck on his lips. Later, he whispered. Jake was livid. "Finn, how could you do this? You know I love Sarah. You're supposed to be my bro." Finn wrapped his hand around my waist and started unbuttoning my shirt. "Looks like we are not." Jake was so loud. He kept on and on. I grabbed my phone and shut it off. Finn smiled and grabbed me again, finally. The morning. Finn was the most romantic and passionate man that night. He made me do stuff that was wild and very embarrassing. I woke up the next morning with Finn gone, no note, nothing. I figured it was a one-night thing, a mistake, a thing he just wanted to brush over. But the sun was shining and I felt so good about myself. Maybe this was just the thing I needed. The confrontation. Later that morning, I saw Jake outside my dorm. "Sarah," he said, way too softly, "I deleted Chloe's contact information, and I will stay away from her. Can we pretend yesterday never happened?" he asked, trying to hold my hand. What the actual hell? After everything that I've done, he still had the audacity to ask for forgiveness? "Did you forget I broke up with you yesterday?" I asked. He just chuckled. "Don't be so dramatic, you were just angry, and I knew it. You didn't do anything with Finn." I looked at him. "Are you insane?" He didn't stop, he kept trying to hold me. "You didn't mean to break up with me, you didn't want to sleep with anyone else, don't make it harder." I shoved him away. "We are done, Jake. And also, I talked to a psychic, she said you're bad luck." I turned away, heading back inside, ready to put it all behind me. The club. My roommate shook me awake. "Sarah, your club is meeting, they need you to go." I slowly got up and plugged in my phone. The message was from my club president, saying my phone was off and they needed me to come to the meeting. I slowly got dressed and went to the meeting. I was early, Finn wasn't there yet. One of the younger members looked at me and asked, "Hey Sarah, do you know if Finn has a girlfriend? I really like him." I blushed. I was so ashamed of myself. He doesn't. But I don't know much about him. I was trying to pretend like nothing happened when Finn's voice came from the door. "Oh, really?" He was leaning against the door, wearing a black windbreaker, looking completely intimidating. The accusation. Finn took me to an empty room, pushing me on a table and trapping me with his hands. "So," he said, "you're a player, huh?" "Whoa, okay. Who taught you that?" he asked, his voice almost a whisper. "Sleeping with me and running away. Did you think that's okay?" I crossed my arms. "I didn't want to kiss you," I argued. Finn leaned in, almost touching my lips. "Think again, princess." My cheeks burned. He was right. "And why did you run away?" he continued. "I was so sure you hated me for that." I was embarrassed. I said, a little softer. "And when you weren't there, I just thought you didn't want anything to do with me." He looked confused. "I went out to get breakfast." He pulled out his phone. "I even messaged you." I looked away. My phone had been off. I blushed and mumbled, "I turned it off by mistake." He touched my waist, his voice softer. "So, what are you going to do about me?" I was so nervous. "I will take responsibility." He smiled, but his eyes were dangerous. "Is that right? Because I have other ideas." I was trying to escape when he stopped me. His voice was soft and sincere. "I don't want you to think that it's all for responsibility." He looked deep into my eyes. "I like you, Sarah," he said. "I have for a long, long time." The betrayal. Finn and I started spending all our time together. It was wonderful, but I still felt a little awkward with him. But only I felt like that. He was completely at ease. A couple of weeks later, I was walking home and I had an encounter with some old creepy guy. I was tired and just yelled, "Do you think that's a good show? Do you think you're hot? You know, my boyfriend has the best one I have ever seen, so yours is a joke." The guy backed away and ran. I just chuckled when I heard someone walking behind me. I knew who it was. I was ready to blush when Jake's voice came from the distance. "So, who's this boyfriend you're talking about?" Jake walked towards us, his eyes on Finn. Finn just stood in front of me, looking like he was a god. "Jake, it's not your business anymore," I said, annoyed. Jake said, "This isn't your fight, Finn. This is between Sarah and me." I just snapped and looked at him. "Why are you still obsessed? We only stayed in the club one night. And I bet that was just to show off." Jake looked desperate. "You didn't do anything, right?" "What? How did you know we went to the club again?" I asked. "Are you following us?" Jake shook his head. One of the guys posted on the chat that they saw Finn's car there. He looked at Finn again. "I bet you didn't do anything." Jake started to look at me with disgust. "And to think that you would do that in a club's booth, it's disgusting." I was mad. "You never understand, do you?" I said. "We broke up." Finn stood in front of me and looked at Jake, a playful smile plastered on his face. "You know, it's not me who sleeps with her. It's her who slept with me." Jake screamed and tried to attack Finn. Finn threw a punch to Jake's chest. "Why are you looking at me?" Finn started. "If you hadn't been a jerk, she would be with you, right?" Jake tried to fight again, but Finn kicked him to the ground. He looked down. "Why are you so sure? She would never leave." Jake looked up, staring at me, his eyes full of pain. I just turned my head away. Finn grabbed my hand, and we went away. "He's so weak," I said. The truth. Jake was just a small detail, really. That night, I went to Finn's apartment. He had this beautiful cat. I was playing with her, thinking everything was okay. But then after dinner, we were watching a movie and he gave me half a glass of wine. I felt a little tipsy and asked, "So, do you remember the size?" Finn laughed. Of course, I do. I gave him a small look. I do too. It came down to here. Finn was staring at me and pulled my head to kiss my neck. Oh, you were such a good girl that night, he said in a low voice, while his fingers touched my abs. I bet you can be even better tonight, right? My cheeks were red hot. Stop trying to seduce me, I complained. But do you like it? He asked. I couldn't control my breath and just nodded, yes, I do. The confession. I woke up in Finn's arms. I looked at him, thinking everything about the time we have been spending together, and how much I had changed. Finn was very good. If he wanted, he could play with all the girls, but he said that he only wanted me. I just was thinking when his eyes opened. I love you, he mumbled, burying his face in my neck. Sarah, I love you. I snuggled closer, I know. He paused for a second, yeah. The drama. Chloe was so happy, it was very annoying. But, we just saw her crying. She started, Finn, you're with Sarah? But, you don't even know who she is. She's playing you. Finn just looked at her, a smile on his face. Why? Do you have something to say? Chloe started to cry even more. I am only telling you the truth. You have to know who she really is. I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, we get it, you're obsessed. Chloe was really mad at me now. Sarah. Finn intervened, I know her better than you do. He looked at Chloe. Are you the other woman? He then asked, do you want me to label you something? Chloe just got angrier and walked away. We were happy until I saw that she posted a video on the internet. She was crying, all dramatic. The title read, I don't want to bash anyone but Sarah, please stop doing this. You have ruined my life. The video was all about how I was sleeping with Finn while also seeing Jake. She never mentioned she had done anything to break up us in the first place. I went to the comments and, well, people were on my side. I can't believe the second woman is trying to act innocent. That's Sarah. She saved me from a creep, I trust her. Oh my god, that second woman is such a joke. Someone mentioned another tweet. I looked for it, and it was Finn. It had all the details of the drama with Chloe and Jake, and it had the receipts to prove it. The explanation. I called Finn immediately. How did you know that Chloe was going to post that? He laughed, I just guessed it. She was so desperate, it was obvious. You could have left me be, and I would have been okay, I replied, everyone will see the truth at some point. Finn didn't answer for a couple of seconds. But I didn't want them to think about you in a bad way, he said, it is better for them to never say anything bad about you. I finally realized what he was trying to do. I went to the club immediately. The realization. I overheard Jake and Finn arguing. You're afraid of me, Jake said, that's why you posted so fast. Sure, whatever you say, Finn said, completely nonchalant. You posted it because you were afraid that I was going to tell her the truth, and then she'd dump you, Jake kept on, and that she was still in love with me. Finn was silent. You know, she never said, I love you, right? Jake said, she only sleeps with you because of the dare. Finn looked at him, so? She will never love you, she's too attached to me, Jake said. She will always go back to me, so maybe just let her go now, Finn. That's enough. I went to the kitchen and grabbed a large bowl. I then filled it with water. I pushed the door and saw them too, looking at me. Jake immediately went soft. Sarah. I stopped him. Look at the water in the bowl, I said. Jake looked confused, but he did it. Did you see? I asked and threw the water on Jake. I thought that you guys were so poor that you did not have mirrors. So I brought some water for you to see how ugly you are. I continued, why would I stay with you? Finn is everything you are not. I am happy with him now. Why would I stay with you? Jake was furious. It was only a 3 minutes kiss. Why would you just dump me? I rolled my eyes. You can tell all that to the police or a judge, I said. Jake was trying to say more things when the club's president started to tell him that he was causing trouble and was being called by the administration. I looked at Finn and just pulled him away. The conclusion. I was quiet while we were walking, looking at the sky. It was a cloudy day, very gloomy. I was thinking what to say, if I had to apologize or if I had to say, I love you first. But Finn just looked at me and said, I'm sorry. I did that because I was scared that you might go back to Jake. I looked at him and grabbed his face. Finn, you don't need to be sorry. I love you, and whatever you do, you don't need to be sorry, I added. Finn laughed. Oh, it only took 6 months. I was confused. 6 months of what? Finn looked into the distance, his eyes somewhere far away. I thought that if I was nice to you, you would fall in love with me within 6 months, or maybe you wouldn't at all. But I thought that if I was good to you, you would stay with me. I was very optimistic. He had said those words so naturally, it broke my heart. I hugged him, crying. Finn, are you for real? He hugged me back. I am just madly in love with you. I grabbed him even tighter. You can't do this. You should take care of yourself first, not me. What if I am not the right person? He shook his head, smiling. That's impossible. I'm already madly in love with you. If I had a say on it, I would not have done it, but alas, I'm madly in love with you now. He had always loved me, but in silence, never expecting anything in return. He was truly special. From now on, I will be here with you, I said. Whatever you do, I will be there. Finn smiled. Look, he said, pointing to the sun. The clouds had finally broken, and the sun was shining brightly. The sun is shining again.